Hi, Jeff. Put some clothes on.
No, I'm turning off the video.
Yeah, okay, great. Jeff just joined the meeting with nothing on. Okay, I'm back.
No, I'm only turning on the video real quick again because I want to prove to you that I'm not naked. I have
half naked. Yeah. Half
just
naked.
a shirt on.
That's all right. Before anybody else joins, I have a quick protocol question for you. I'm pissy. Remember I said have my back. So Greg had in fact asked for me to add to the agenda this, once again, third month in a row, protocols.
I already read it, yes.
Yes, but he uploaded his ideas for protocols. Is that appropriate?
What do you mean he uploaded his ideas for protocol? That's what I
In
said
the
I
agenda,
read.
it doesn't say from Greg. It looks like a document Unnc has created. It's in the advanced agenda packet.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I had it open. It's called protocols or whatever, and it's bulleted items.
Procedural concerns, meeting concerns, but he simply
Yes.
uploaded this. Is that appropriate? Meaning, I think you understand.
You mean did he slip it in at the last minute before the agenda packet link went out?
No, he put it in today.
Well, I don't think that that's a problem. It's information that helps put forth one of his concerns. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Why do you feel that that's a procedural issue?
Let's see. He's listing the jobs of people that are incorrect.
Well, no, I know that.
These are his suggestions, but they're not
right.
They don't conform to what those of us who took the damn training have been told. Right. He also is suggesting where I'm losing track because this was nothing. He's saying presenters have 5 minutes. He's presenting these as facts, though at the top he calls it concerns, and he didn't sign it. I mean, this is as if it's our document. And
it's not.
And also use voice vote for procedural and operational items. Use roll call vote for fiscal and personnel. We can't do it that way.
I know he has to understand that it's a requirement from Dunn and Bonk, and he may not know this, that every action the board takes must be recorded via BAC.
Right. Well,
including approval of the agenda.
Right. I do think, yeah, I have some other issues, not with him at this point. I have some issues with, I'm having trouble figuring out how to do a setting that allows us to have polling. There is such a setting, but it wouldn't allow me to do it in the advance.
Right.
And there's no place here that allows me to add it now either.
Well, I have one small suggestion for tonight, and yes, I'll have your back, and this is why I think it might free you up to also provide your comment as well. I know that you have been building these agendas, but it's the vice president who is actually responsible for the executive committee meeting.
Hey, guess what? Oddly enough, not in our bylaws or standing rules. Apparently, it's just been a long time procedure.
Yeah, it's been a long time standing procedure, but when we go to the board meeting, the actual physical board meeting, it was always the vice president who presented executive.
I understand. I've been checking with Asai. He wants me to do these, so please don't do that. He doesn't have the ability.
All right, well then it's more
FYI,
important then.
FYI. Let's not call him out. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's fine. But it's also important for you to realize that this is not like a board meeting, and the less that you weigh in and just continue to move the meeting along, or let me move the meeting along, the freer you will be, especially with the issue we're talking about with Greg.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand. That's fine. Again, I'm asking you, so you're bringing up a different protocol question, which is who runs the meeting, exact, and who creates the agenda. So I would have loved it if Asai, wanting to continue on as vice president, because initially he was not going to, would have also been able to step up and do this. But at the moment, I'm okay with this on the assumption he really is going to step up to start running a bunch of, hosting the committee meetings.
Right.
Because that's turned out to be really time consuming just this week.
No, I know.
Right.
And
so in other words, the job descriptions that are not actually in our bylaws or standing rules also don't really have anything to do with these virtual meetings. So if he's willing, and he is, to take on that other piece, it's a perfectly good, and we consult on the agenda. He just doesn't seem to have the ability to build the agenda, if I'm saying that right. And in terms of running the meeting, I'm good with you running it if you want. I mean, I'm still going to post the agenda. I wanted this to be 1 hour and only 1 hour. I'm fucking hot. Look, if you can see, I didn't bother to pretend I'm not hot. I want it out of here, and I really, really didn't want to have another long discussion about protocols. But meanwhile, Greg also doesn't want to pay for additional Zoom licenses. And there's no way Asai, or for that matter, any of our other committee chairs, I mean, I can't make volunteers spend their own money.
No, and here's my suggestion.
I can't run all of these.
Here's my suggestion for that Unnc provide one additional Zoom Pro license that is used exclusively and shared by the committees, which you have worked arduously on.
You can't do it that way. Every Zoom license must be associated with one single email.
And if Asai is willing to do that, and start the meetings, and then let whoever is the committee chair take the meeting over from there, then it's absolutely doable, and we're only paying for one additional license.
We're only paying for one license. Nobody's paying for mine. I'm paying for my own.
No, I know that.
So it's one license. It'd be $15 a month, but we should pay it annual just because it's easier to pay for, rather than having to reimburse. I mean, in other words, I'm guessing this is a reimbursement, not a charge on our card. I don't even know how.
Well, for you, it would be a reimbursement. That would be a physical check, yes.
No, what I mean is I don't know if we can use our credit card to do a additional Zoom license. That'll be a Greg task to find out. I'm guessing it is a reimbursement to the board member, in which case it would be better to pay for an annual license. So it's one reimbursement, one check only. Am I saying that?
Well, that's something for him to find out.
Ooh.
Or your signatory, which would be Hugo.
Yeah, there's two credit card holders. Me and Hugo's not a credit card holder yet. It would be up to Greg to find out, as treasurer and the person who talks to the funding team, Shauna, how it's to be paid for. Not up to me and not up to Hugo. If it can be the credit card, that's great. That's swell. I just don't know if it can be. Anyway, I don't see anybody else at this meeting yet, so we can keep yakking. My concern is
put up the chats or the participants yet.
No, I've got the participant screen up. There's nobody here. Just you and me. 10 minutes.
And I do have a request that either Hugo or Asai, you make a co-host so we can tag team tonight just in case. I'd like to keep it as short as possible too. So if you will let me truly step in as moderator, I'll be more than happy to do so.
That's fine. That's fine. Oops, here comes Dorit. No quorum, but I'm bringing Dorit in.
Okay. So we need to not discuss.
Correct. Dorit's here. I'm here. Hi,
And you've
Dorit.
got chat enabled. Okay.
I'm just here to, when you review the minutes, so I can take the notes.
Okay, so of course, I have it at the end of the meeting. Do you want, when we start this meeting, to move it
Make
to
a
the top?
suggestion to make it at the beginning, yeah.
Right.
No, because I'm actually in the process of making dinner, so then
Oh, you're good. Well, okay then.
you know, so I timed this well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got our tuna casserole in the oven, so.
Okay, so Dorit, I'm really trying to push through this, however, and get done in an hour, if at all possible. So don't go too far from. Is your computer in your kitchen with you?
Well, I'm currently in my office, and me and my computer are walking downstairs.
Okay, but I mean, you're going to have your computer with you and can sort of vaguely monitor. So if you come up, even if you're cooking.
She's going to be ambidextrous in multitasking.
Well, that's cool.
All I'm doing is microwaving something. It's not really like I'm cooking. I mean, I should saying I was cooking dinner was an over exaggeration.
All right.
All right, I'm going on mute for now, Laura.
You're doing what?
I'm going on mute for now.
That's fine. Hi, Asai. I know you're here-ish.
I am. I'm actually buying tacos, so which is why I'm muted right now.
Everybody, Dorit's cooking dinner. Jeff is cooking dinner. You're buying tacos, and I'm just gonna say, I'm not even pretending that I'm cool like a cucumber. My hair's just a sopping ragged mess in this heat.
Asai, where are you getting tacos? Where are there good tacos?
There's this amazing taco plate truck on near Pico and San Vicente, right in front of the Jiffy Lube, right here on Pico.
Oh, you're on your cell phone.
I am. Yeah, I'll soon get on my desktop a little bit later.
Okay.
Pico and San Vicente, you said?
Say again.
By the Jiffy
What
Lube.
was the cross street that you said again? Pico and San Vicente?
Yeah, there's where the Ralph's is, where there's a Jiffy Lube, Yoshinoya, the CVS pharmacy, that little shopping center.
Alrighty, I'll let the husband know because he's always looking for a good taco truck.
Okay,
Tell them
so
they come in at 6 though.
I thought the taco truck at Cimarron in Washington was good. I've never been to any of these, but I thought everybody raved about that one being great.
And the one on Arlington does a lot of good business too.
You mean that the gas station?
Testimonial.
We're all talking over each other. Jeff, do you mean the gas station one at the
Yeah, Arlington and Washington does a good business as well. I haven't tried any of it, but.
Well, what I hear is that the one at Cimarron in Washington, which annoys the hell out of Betty Walton, is, on the other hand, extremely popular with all of her neighbors and the Western Heights people. But in the end, I think the brick and mortar Chabalita remains the best. Not that I've eaten there either in the entire 37 and a half years that I've lived here, but it's got rave reviews over the years. You know,
I hear good things about the one at Smart and Final, the taco stand that's set up there.
Which Smart and Final?
On Pico or Venice?
Well, there's no taco stand at the Midtown. So
The
which
one,
other?
the one right, is it Venice? No, it's Pico.
Pico,
Yeah, it'd have to be Pico.
The Pico Smart and Final taco stand, I hear great things about.
Huh.
And the one in front of McDonald's on Western, across the street from Food for Less.
Oh, well, that's not even a truck. That's people. I
try
wouldn't
your
do
best.
that one.
Yeah, try not to support that one.
Yeah.
Why? They're good.
They don't wear masks.
They're breaking all the health rules. They're not following any of the street vendor code.
Yeah, I sadly, I see them all the time because when I leave here at 10 o'clock at night and still haven't had dinner, I tend to rush over to the Wabu Grill before it closes, and I see them all the time. Hi, Greg. They're not social distancing, and they're not wearing masks, and they're not wearing gloves, and I would not at the moment be going
They're
there.
greasing up the sidewalks. They're not providing ADA compliance. It's
Well, I
just
don't care about that.
yeah,
Well,
that one I would definitely not try to support that one.
Well, the people in my household do, and I am not going to argue with them.
Well, tell them to be.
I eat
Then
at none of them myself.
tell them to sanitize the minute they walk away. I'm just saying, because they don't wear masks. I see them almost every other night. They are not wearing masks.
It took us 3 months.
Down the street don't wear masks.
Well,
yeah,
it took us 3 months. It took us 3 months just to get those guys to lay down cardboard and a tarp so they weren't getting grease all over the sidewalk.
Oh, okay, that's not good. Okay, I think we're all acknowledging it's too effing hot. Because even Greg is wearing his not so formal t-shirt. I didn't bother to do anything with
Greg looks lovely.
Thank you, Dorit. Thank you,
Dorit.
Dorit. Thank you.
But you're usually more
It's a
formal.
clean t-shirt.
Greg,
that's all that matters.
Greg,
Yeah.
I got chided earlier for not even having a shirt on, and since you can only see me from the waist up, she thought I was like,
Yeah, he turned off his video. He said, like, please get dressed.
Well, I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? We're all family here.
I returned on my video and stood up so she could see I had pants on.
Yeah, I'm like, this is something. Yep, toasty. What's the date? Today's the 18th.
Asai, if you're still with us, did you have a chance to talk to Hugo?
I actually did not. I've been a little busy.
That's okay. Let me just call him and see if he's coming. We have quorum. Just if he's coming, let me just find out.
I'll send him a text right quick.
Oh, you're sending him a text? Then you can do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Well, I'll just call.
And I sent Gabby an email today, but the email basically was, oh, darn, did we even tell you that if you're secretary, you're also a member of executive committee? And it's our bad if we didn't. Oops. And so she didn't respond, so I don't know if she's coming or not.
Hey, buddy. Hey, are you logging into our meeting?
Yeah, I'm actually doing that just right now.
Okay, buddy. Well, let me let you go. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. All right, bye-bye. He's signing in. Okay, Gabby. And Gabby didn't say if she was going to attend?
No, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
And it wouldn't be her fault because I have this sinking feeling. I don't think I told her. I don't think anyone told her that secretary's on executive committee. Sadly.
Okay.
So in which case, one of us has to take minutes.
Okay, I'll work on that.
And I am getting emails from Zoom saying my meeting attendees are waiting without their names, and we're all here. I don't see anybody in the waiting room.
Hugo might be signing in.
Gabby might be signing in.
Yay.
No, I mean, nobody's signing in. I have that up on my screen. We're the ones of us who are here. And what did Hugo say?
He's signing in.
Okay. Now he's there to sign in. Okay.
Okay, I will open this.
And Laura, you need to make Greg or Hugo a co-host so I can tag team if necessary.
Okay, right. I'm gonna make Hugo. Well, why wouldn't I make Asaya a co-host?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making Hugo.
Well, he's on his phone.
Oh, right. So unbeknownst to Hugo, he's a co-host.
Okay, because I'm gonna start with minutes.
Hello.
Hi,
Okay,
Hugo.
so the minutes that
Wait. You're gonna do the minutes?
until
Greg?
Gabby shows up. Yeah.
Right. So
Okay, I have the Word document that had the green. Is that the one that I should use for the template?
Oh no, I would say
So-
just use the meeting agenda as your guide for minutes. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, but I'd rather use a Word doc.
Yeah.
So
Can I just email?
please, yeah, please.
Okay, I'll do that right now. Thank you.
All right.
And then, of course, everything is slow today. You think it's the power?
Well, while you're doing that, Laura, we do have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Right, but I need to post the agenda, not the one I'm sending to Greg in Word, but the one I have ready. So just give me, I hear what you're saying, but do me
I
a
can
favor.
do that as well.
Uh, Okay, that's great if you want to do that. I'm just right now trying to send Greg this.
Okay.
Attach. Slowly, sending.
The agenda is now being shared. I will scroll through slowly to the bottom, and then we'll open it up for any changes.
Okay, so the first, I'm not looking there. I'm trying to send to, okay, now I can do.
Okay.
Greg, Jeff, can you take this down to like 75% instead of 139%? Down. Well, even 100 would be better. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I'm in. Save as.
So Greg, I did email you the Word
Yeah,
doc.
I have it.
Okay,
open.
perfect.
I'm saving it as a.
And I spelled Gabby's last name wrong on the agenda. Bad girl.
Yeah, it's with a Z.
Yeah, Z, M-O-N-Z. Oh, does that mean Gabby's here now?
No, this is Lizzie.
Oh, hi,
This is
Lizzie.
Hello.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hello, Greg.
Did everybody get a chance to scroll through the agenda?
Yes.
Comments. Funding requests.
I know there is one suggestion, and that suggestion is to move up last month's minutes to the beginning.
Oh, no,
so
Dorit
that-
said she did not need that because she's cooking dinner.
Okay.
I'm currently eating dinner, but I will wait my turn. I don't mind being on the meeting.
Okay. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
So Jeff, should we just call this meeting to order and approve the agenda?
So, well, we've already called the meeting to order, but are there any changes to the agenda that's been shown?
None.
Seeing that, then can we get raised hands for approval of the agenda?
Can you see all the raised hands?
My hand is raised, but I don't know why
Yeah.
my reaction button never works.
Because I made you a co-host. You want to not be a co-host? You go.
Oh.
That's the issue with being a co-host. You can't. You lose your blue. You lose your blue. Oop. And we just lost a participant.
Okay, the agenda has been approved by the majority present.
Right. Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so
Right.
Greg, no, I don't mean Greg. I'm sorry, Jeff. Do you want me to be calling these items, or are you moderating for real? Jeff?
I will be moderating for real if you want me to do so.
Well, you said you wanted to, so I'm okay. I just want to, hop to it. That's all.
Okay.
So we're
So
on public comments.
are now open for 2 minutes. Raise your hand if you would like to speak in public comment. Dorit, please go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Hey there. So just wanted to let everyone know that the first Rec and Parks Committee meeting will be September 1 at 7:30 through the magic of Zoom. It's going to be just an introductory meeting. As far as I can tell, there hasn't been a meeting since 2015. So it'll be, what do we want the committee to be? Everyone is invited. Please get the word out to others. And yes, that's it. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Dorit. Any others?
Oh, Laura has a comment.
Laura, please go ahead.
I don't know if other people received this email, but I got an email yesterday from basically Metro Crenshaw North, something like that, that basically says they're going tomorrow to the board for, these are for the light rail trains and subways, with like they've had all their community outreach and they're going to the board tomorrow to ask for the money. I don't know the whole agenda, but it's like, what community outreach? Did anybody else even, oh, don't answer the question, but I sent back an email that basically said, you have not held a community meeting in Unnc. And then afterwards, I looked and they also have not held a meeting in Mink or the West Adams Neighborhood Council. So all of the neighborhood councils that are on the boundary of Crenshaw between Exposition and Wilshire have not had community outreach meetings, even though supposedly they've completed their community outreach. So I'm just gonna work forward on this, like so many other things that seem to have been avoiding talking to us. Thank you.
You're correct, Laura, but just some background information. They have been doing a lot of outreach meetings in the community, primarily South.
They have a report that lists every single meeting they have, so I've actually seen where they've had the meetings, and it's been much more in Carthay Circle than over here. Just FYI. But we can't have a discussion.
Any others for public comment? If not, I'll jump in. I've got 3 quick items. First item is
We lost you. You muted yourself, Jeff.
the success that we had with the reimagining policing. The first town hall was a huge success. The next one will be happening this Thursday. I will be sure to provide all of the meeting information and links into the chat window. So be sure to copy and paste that before you leave the meeting. Also, because we have had an overwhelming response to the actual survey itself, they've extended the deadline to this Friday. So if you haven't had a chance to weigh in on how you envision policing to be different in our city, this will be your last opportunity to do so. I will also put that into the group chat. Item.
Jeff, you're breaking
Jeff, you
up.
went mute
Can
again.
I say that I attended that meeting, Jeff, and I did find it to be very empowering.
Good to hear. For those of you who are in Southwest Division, there is a coffee with captains tomorrow at 3 p.m. and I'll post that info as well in the chat. With that, I believe that will end our public comments.
Only caught 2 of your comments, Jeff, because I think you're broken off.
Okay, so I covered the reimagining police.
Yes.
The next town hall happens this Thursday. Second, the survey itself, so you can weigh in as a citizen and stakeholder, is extended to this Friday. And then for Southwest Division, there is coffee with captains tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Okay.
I'll move us to the next item, and while that's happening, I will post all of that into the chat. So
So,
with that, let's move on to executive committee business.
Mhm.
Jeff, you for some reason you keep muting. So we didn't, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Okay. The next agenda item is a funding request to support UNNC's committee meetings. Laura, you are the requester and you have 5 minutes to present, and then we can have a discussion.
Yeah, I need 1 minute only. At last month's executive committee meeting, we actually discussed this in a broad way, that the same thing, to facilitate UNNC committee meetings. We probably, what was in the minutes that we'll be looking at later, we probably need to have one or more additional Zoom licenses. And at that meeting, Isaac, for example, asked if it's okay to use his personal license. If he was chairing a committee, we said yes. But we couldn't do a funding request at that point because this was just more yik-yak than anything else. So this is semi more formal, that we should, my opinion, recommend that we purchase at least one, or support a board member's purchase of at least one pro license, and perhaps more than one. The rate is $14.99 per month. There's a discount if you buy it annually. If we were to go forward with this, Greg would need to find out, I think, from the clerk, if we're allowed to pay for it on our credit card, even if it's most specifically in a side, a gets a license or somebody else, or would it have to be a reimbursement to a board member with a check? And I don't know the answer. And it's probably not necessarily to know the answer if we don't vote yes on getting the license. The reason we need additional is just evidenced by this week. I had to set up 3 meetings this week. It's just too much for one person. We had already decided to call Asai, or Zoom guru, so that he could do this too, but he doesn't have a professional license. You have to have a pro license to do this, to be able to set up the securities and everything else. The UNNC actual webinar license is already assigned to me by Dunn on my email address. I didn't ask in advance. I can only have one license on the email address, and it is not not transferable. So it's sort of dead in the water until I can figure that out. And it is not a Zoom meeting license. It's a Zoom webinar City of LA license. So, so that seems like a waste of money that they spent, but on the other hand, it's not useful to us. So, so my proposal at this point is at least one, so that Asai can have a license, so he can start setting up some of these committee meetings and hosting them, and potentially a second one if there was any other board member who wanted to do that same thing. As we start having more committee meetings, somebody needs to set each one of them up. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone would like to discuss? Greg?
Okay, could we address the issue of why the free Zoom capabilities isn't sufficient for our committees that will meet once a month or so?
Jeff, should I be answering that? I see Dorit has her hand raised.
Go ahead and answer that question, and then
Right.
Dorit will have your question.
The free Zoom has a limitation to the number of participants, and we are not allowed to limit a number of participants. They also had a limit to the time. That may be bypassable, meaning they don't cut off a meeting if it goes past the limit. But the limit, I think, is 45 minutes. So
Limit in time or limit in participants?
Both.
There's both. And a free account, it's not just a limit in participants for a single meeting. There may be a limit over the month. I'm just not sure. But there's limitations when you don't pay.
Right.
Dorit?
Do we know how other NCs are handling this? Because I know that other NCs are having tons of meetings.
The other NC, answer is the other NCs are purchasing multiple licenses.
So we can purchase multiple license. Dunn is not going to have a fit if we buy more than one license through our NC, through UNNC.
Our money, so to speak. No, it would be fine.
Say that again, Greg.
It would be fine. It's using the money for city business. It should be.
Okay, cool. Then let's buy a couple more. Let's see how many we need because, and if we can share them. I know in other things that belong to, you can share them. I was gonna buy, you know, we can't have committee meetings and expect people to buy their own Zoom accounts. I know you're gonna say it's only 15 bucks, but
No.
my income has dropped 70% since COVID, so I can't even really afford 15 bucks. It's not easy. So I think we should buy as many as we need.
Yeah, I believe the idea is at least to begin with one or two and then share amongst the committees. But it does mean it's tied to a single individual and a single email. So someone's going to have to step up and take some partial responsibility to create the meeting and at least start it. So the chair of the committee can then do the actual control of the Zoom meeting.
May I say how we've done it in the nonprofit I'm involved in? We have a email account, and we just use that account. Everyone uses that account to access that Zoom account because email accounts are free if you use Google.
That's an excellent suggestion.
Yes.
Asai, you have your hand raised?
Yeah. So the way that I would also do it too is if you're looking at it on the cost effectiveness style where you don't want to pay $15 for each license, the only other way that I could think of it being really good is going by the same idea of, for example, since I was, I guess, kind of like unanimously picked to be the guru for the Zoom, essentially being able to use that one particular Zoom account that's already licensed for UNNC meetings, but only specifically having that particular person create those meetings. And there's going to have to be constant dialogues between the dates that have to be made for those committees, for each committee. And it's very easy to do. And then from there, basically, they would have access to join to those meetings. And basically, it's frankly really easy to do, with just one. But it's really up to the discretion of how fluid or how computer savvy people believe people are.
1 minute 30 left on discussion.
Okay,
Laura?
Yeah, okay. I just want to repeat. We cannot use the actual UNNC license transferably to anyone else, period. They've told us, I mean, I've been to multiple meetings with Dunn, can't be done. So we could set up one more license and figure out an email that multiple people have the password to, but it would still have to be pre-planned because you can only do one meeting at a time as well. So we couldn't, if we have two committees meeting the same night, there will have to be two Zoom licenses. And that's okay, because you always have mine. I mean, in other words, I'm just saying we need to have at least two people and maybe a third if we're very successful and every
30
committee
seconds.
has meetings. It's not as easy as you just said, Asai. It's one thing to be able to set up meetings with your family or with your work, but our meetings are set up and then there's a lot of other things we have to do to make them public and Brown Act compliant. So I just went through this week. It was extremely time consuming over the weekend to set up the 3 meetings this week. And that's okay. I'm okay with the ones I've agreed to do. We for sure need somebody to do the 4th Thursday, which is Janie meeting, because I won't be able to do it going forward after this month because I have a conflict. I have another Zoom meeting I'm hosting. So we need at least one other person with a license, and that may be enough.
Time is up. We still have a hand raised. Greg would like to speak as well as Dorit. As long as the committee would like to extend the time, I'm open to extending.
Well, how did we
or
get a
accepting.
time? I just gave us an amount of time for the entire section of executive committee. I didn't give time for this item. On the,
I've been doing 5 and 5.
all right.
So would the committee like to extend it another 5 minutes for discussion or 3 minutes?
I move to extend the discussion for another 3 minutes.
All right, 3 minutes it is.
Okay.
Greg, please go ahead.
Okay. My next question is, with our current schedule, do we anticipate having meetings at the same time? And have we had meetings at the same time in the past?
I can answer that. Laura worked extensively with all of the committee members to make sure that they did not overlap, not only with UNC's meetings, but also outside meetings within the community.
Yeah, well, that's so far, but we still have another 6 or 7 that haven't even reached out to me yet for their meeting nights. And and I will say the homelessness liaison committee has before all of this, before COVID, been bouncing between the 3rd Thursday and the 4th Thursday. Either one is a conflict with another UNC committee meeting. So I don't know if Tori's going to do it again, but there's already at least one.
Dory, you have your hand raised. Go ahead, Dory.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. I say let's just buy the one license right now, and if we need another license, we buy it next month. We're spending a lot of time, and it's great that we're spending the time to work this out, but let's buy one and then buy another one next month. As far as Tori, reach out to her, or if you want, tell me what you want, text me what you want me to ask her, and I will reach out to her if she's having a meeting anytime soon, okay?
Can I call the order?
You'll be the last comment. Oh,
I just want to call the
absolutely.
order. Can I call the question?
Absolutely. We haven't really had a question in, but
Well,
actually we
make the
have.
motion?
So,
we did not
yeah.
even really, oh good, Gabby's
Can I
here.
make the motion? Hi, Gabby.
I don't think you need to make a motion in a committee, but you can actually push the funding request through and that it gets onto the board agenda for
Well,
a
that would
final
be the
decision.
motion, would it not?
Correct.
So, but we need to say how many we're pushing through.
So the motion would be to refer this funding request to the full governing board with a recommendation that we start with one license. Is that what I sort of heard?
Yes.
With a general email.
Did we say,
Push
did we
forward.
decide that?
I
That was a
think
good
that was an
idea.
excellent suggestion.
Push forward.
Could it be something as simple as uncommittees@gmail.com?
We have a bunch of emails I found on that we're not using. That I found on the Google Drive.
Okay, it would, raising my hand, I don't have a blue thing.
All right, I know, Laura, Asai had his up first. Here's what I'm gonna do. We've got 7 seconds left on this after a time extension. Let's go with Asai and then to Laura, and then let's move on to deciding the action.
This is just a question to Greg. Do you know if the $180 for the additional Zoom license for the year is something that is possible right now?
Yes.
And if
Yes.
now with it being so, if let's say we go all the way up to, let's say, 4 licenses, how would that look like? Would it still be feasible?
We have money.
Okay. All right. Let's start, throwing in.
I mean, we're not rich, but
Okay,
we haven't spent any money. I have the motion written as we stated.
does that look right, what I put, Greg?
Oh, I don't know, because I'm looking at my screen and.
Yeah, I
where's
just
it
put in
at?
chat. Hi, Gabby, by the way, hello.
Hi, Gab. Okay.
Gabby, you're welcome.
Let me go down to the chat.
Hi,
Thank
Gabby.
you. Sorry, I didn't realize I was a member of the executive
Sorry,
committee.
You
Hi,
are
Gab.
power. You're a power play. Okay. Yes, that's what I have. Yes.
Laura, would you like the pleasure of calling the vote?
Well, yeah, sure, but who made the motion and who seconded?
I'll make
Greg
the motion.
made the motion, you can second.
Okay. I like putting this in chat. Okay. So Greg?
Yes.
You can ask the whole committee.
Oh, we can
Let me
just
just
do,
do this. When you interrupt, it takes longer. Aside?
no, let's not.
Okay,
Laura,
everybody.
No,
in
let's
committee,
not.
we don't have to have the
We don't do
BAC.
that. We don't do that.
We still have to have a vote.
No, we don't have to do.
Exactly. So all those in favor, raise
Yes.
their hands.
You don't understand. We made Hugo a co-host. He cannot raise his hand. We need a voice from Hugo.
We can do voice vote.
Yeah. So let at this point, all those in favor say yay.
Yay.
Hey.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, I believe the action moves.
Okay, and just as an FYI for Greg and everybody, I think we need to do I think, Jeff, what you had said would be unnc.committees@gmail.com. It would need to be a Gmail or Yahoo and not our unnc.org because we don't have really have access to it.
Right.
I mean, we
Correct.
do, but we don't, so.
And I just want to point out that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just want to. Never mind.
Yeah,
True.
if
I agree.
we did
I agree.
it that way. We'll just figure
Right.
it out later.
Right. My thoughts.
All right.
Great.
Moving on to the next item. This is regarding neighborhood council
I have
elections.
an administrative thing since Gabby's present.
Go
If I
ahead,
may.
Greg.
Gabby, do you want me to continue taking minutes for this meeting, or do you want to take over and I can send you what I've typed so far?
Yeah, I can take over. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you,
On
Greg.
to under item B, this is neighborhood council elections, and it's to discuss possible community impact statements for council file number 200963 relative to the clerk's proposal for vote by mail for next spring's neighborhood council elections. This is possible referral to UNNC CIS committee, discussion and possible action. I will start the brief at 5 minutes.
Jeff, are you posting the screen share or should I?
I can do that if you'd like me to. If
I
not,
know,
go
I can
for
do
it.
it too. Just tell me what you want.
Yeah, go for it, because I got a lot of windows open.
Okay.
Yep.
So, oh, and I do too, but it was not that one. Hang on. Okay. So basically, without their going out to all of the neighborhood councils, it's not a big surprise. The clerk is now proposing that all of the election be done by mail. Not very clear exactly how they propose to do it, but it's implied that, so this is their report. It's implied that they would have some sort of system in place where a person requests a vote by mail ballot, and then they would receive it in the mail somehow and then mail it back. It might already have a stamp on it. I personally not sure, it's just personal, not sure they're going to be able to easily do this. They had originally asked for $1.3 million to do the spring elections for neighborhood councils. They actually were given only, as you can see, $673,010. Why $10? I don't know. For all of the elections. So so this is what they're proposing. They have to bring back a report, and so essentially all stakeholders would need to utilize an online portal to apply for the ballot. This gives the clerk an awful lot of power and control over everybody's elections, including ours. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to handle, since we still have a broad description of who's a stakeholder, and they don't tend to agree with our broad description. I don't know how that would be handled, and they do need to bring back a report. So the question is, do we want to do a community impact statement about this? And if we do we, the executive committee, want to refer this to Janie for her very first meeting, which will be a week from Thursday?
2 minutes, and then we'll move to discussion. If everybody's ready to discuss, I'll reset for 5.
Right, and I'm stopping this share, and I'm just going to share. There's another thing where people made comments at the hearing. So, but I have no further comments. I'm just going to run through that as you guys may or may not wish to discuss this.
Any committee members present would like to comment or discuss? Greg, please go ahead.
I just see I understand the logic for safety purposes in doing the mail-in ballot. So it seems like this is something that we should support, but try to work out all the kinks to make sure that it's a fair election. That's all.
Any other comments for discussion? Laura?
Oh, Gabby's first.
Just had a question. The action here is whether we want to send it to the CIS committee, right?
Pretty much.
Just so I understand.
Not to, well, to decide if we want to handle it, in which case, I don't know how we will. We don't have a proposed community impact statement, or send it to them. But it's okay if we send it to them with some idea of what we're sending. It's okay to have a little bit of a discussion here. It is a public meeting. And now my hand is raised.
Laura and then Greg.
Well, the thing I just posted is one comment that's reflective of a lot that I have heard, which is, why are we even having the election this coming spring? Why can't it just be deferred until we can do a better, instead of kickstarting it and doing it maybe half-ass? Why is it necessary to do it this spring, other than it's when it was normally scheduled? So this is somebody, I don't know who he is, Roger Davis, but I've been hearing a lot of that comment in various meetings.
3 minutes, Greg, and then Dorit.
Yeah, it's just not clear to me. I mean, I agree with what Laura just said. Like, do we really need to hold an election at all? Just let the people keep serving. So other than that, I'm a bit confused about what is there to say about it,
Dorit?
Okay. Remember how batshit crazy we all went when Trump suggested we postpone the election? Yeah, this isn't the presidency. I know it's just a neighborhood council, but still it's an election, and we can't postpone them. We just can't do that. If we're going to do it for us, then we're going to do it for higher offices. So, and I mean, I wouldn't mind if we canceled it. Then I wouldn't have to run again, because I don't really like the idea of running. But it's not something that we should be proposing while we live in this country. And I think that it's small, medium, or large. We should not be even thinking about the idea of canceling or proposing any elections.
Laura, if I may, I'm going to echo Dorit's comments. To postpone a neighborhood council election means that we do not identify as a city body or a government entity within our own city, and I think it would set a dangerous precedent. Laura?
Well, that would probably be true if the city clerk hadn't already multiple times proposed elections over the recent years at their convenience. And this is, so that there's nothing in the charter that says spring of 21. I think a lot of us were just, meaning those attending other meetings, were thinking fall of 21, so it's a different fiscal year, and just to give them time to collect their monies, build this out, and then do it. So I understand what everybody's thinking about. Let's not follow the lead of somebody in Washington.
1 minute.
But anyway, the question is, on our table is, should we do a community impact statement at all? And if yes, do we want to assign it out of this executive committee, meaning bring it back a month from now to executive committee and then to the board after that? Or do we want to give Janie, assign it to CIS committee, and it still may not go anywhere very fast. So it's just a question of, do we give her this as the first agenda item for her committee next week?
30 seconds and then a sigh.
So for me, I'm echoing Dorit's comments and Jeff's. I'm usually not giving an opinion, but this is the one time where I think that elections should be still held on their respective dates. However, what I think what should be going on is a little bit more interaction with Dunn to assist the board members who are up for re-election, not just for UNNC, but for all the other NCs as well, because this is a whole different way of outreaching for voters. Since now it's going to be mail-in, it's going to be very different. And so assisting them with possibilities of how to run their elections would probably go a long way for them. But that's just my opinion, something that could be referred to the elections committee or to someone else. I'll leave it at that.
Before we move forward, would the committee like to extend this discussion for 3 to 5 more minutes?
Nope.
Jeff, I just wanted to make a quick comment. Dunn's outreach budget for the election was slashed to 0. Yay. Just so you all
Good
know.
to know.
Good to know.
What was it?
But again, we're just, would be, our action tonight is one of 3 choices. Well, 4 choices. Do nothing. Refer it to our new CIS committee for their more thorough discussion. They could spend a whole hour on this, and they may have different ideas than we do. The topic is vote by mail. The clerk's report saying they're going to vote by mail. The topic is not really, should we defer the election, although that could be what they conclude and bring to the board, which we could still then vote on. Or do we refer it back to ourselves to work on and bring back to ourselves in a month? So I think those are the 3 choices. Do nothing, refer, or bring back to ourselves with a more thorough idea for next month.
I would recommend a motion or an action where we move this to CIS committee for their discussion and then further bring it back to executive committee. And if there are any issues there, iron it out then.
I'm sorry, why would we bring their committee report initially back to executive as opposed to they bring it to the board says yes or refers it to executive? Every other committee works that way.
Simply because until they come up with an action, it still has to be brought to the executive committee to be placed
Why?
on the agenda.
Why?
That's how UNNC has always worked. In order to get on the agenda, it's done at the executive committee level.
Greg has his hand flashing.
Greg, this will be the last comment and then we need to move forward.
Yeah, it's not even on the topic. It's on that protocol. I don't understand that protocol.
Yeah, I don't
But
either,
that can-
Greg. I agree with Greg. Jeff, I don't
We can
understand
get
that.
we can get to that in my section. 'Cause
Right.
that's like procedures and protocol.
Right.
But
I think that's something that goes to the Standing Rules Committee.
We don't
Yeah.
have a standing rules committee.
We should have.
Well, we don't.
I want to make a motion.
Thank you, Greg.
I make a motion that this item go to the CIS committee to study. And then that's where it gets that's where you 2 got into the debate of where it comes back to. But the CIS committee can study it, and then we could figure out how what's supposed to happen after that. We're supposed to bring it back to.
Do I have a second? Laura, seconds. Okay. So
All those in favor?
side, yes. All those in favor, aye, Laura.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Finding no position or
Somebody-
You said nay.
opposition?
You said nay.
I
That
heard
means
a
you're opposed.
nay. I heard a nay.
Okay, so we have 1 opposition, but the motion or the action still carries.
Thank you.
With that being said, we'll move on to our next item. Oh, and we saved, guys, we actually did that in 10 minutes because I added the 3 minutes that Laura still had left.
Okay, sweetness.
Item C, request support for link resolution. The proposed resolution states it is hereby resolved that UNNC supports the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition, LANC, request that the City Council create a new council file to provide transparency for the reallocated $150 million that was defunded from the Los Angeles Police Department. The Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition wants the process to be transparent, and the neighborhood councils that represent the areas of the city that are underrepresented and areas with people of color be afforded the opportunity to weigh on where those funds are allocated and how they are spent for the benefit of the community that are underserved. 5 minutes for presentation and then 5 minutes for discussion.
Who's presenting this?
Oh, well, Laura, but there it is. That's the presentation. You just read it.
Then let's go right on to discussion, setting for 5 minutes.
Could we expand on the objectives, mission of the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition, which I think you spoke about last time, but could you review that?
Well, there's multiple citywide coalitions. This happens to be it's the alliance of all the neighborhood councils.
Yes.
And they formally voted, not formerly, but formally,
Yes.
the alliance reps formally voted on this resolution and also asked each, the neighborhood councils if they would also act on it. It's a request to, there's no council file. Right now what's happening is simply that the budget committee of the city council is doing whatever they're doing. We don't know, there's no transparency. So we did not have a rep at the time. We now do, but if you're going to ask me who got elected to it, I don't remember. It might have been Chris Carlson. But we elected a NC Alliance, a LANNC Alliance rep at our last meeting. So going forward, we will have a vote on things like procedures like this. So, but otherwise, this is pretty straightforward. It's asking the city council to actually create a council file so neighborhood councils are able to weigh in with CISs on this topic.
Currently, Greg, there is no council file, and when that is the issue, we can't file a CIS. So that's all that's being asked here. Asai, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so actually, Jeff, I wanted to ask, so if this is a budget from the city, I'm assuming then the mayor would have a big discrepancy as to how he wants to spread that money. Am I correct?
Correct.
So in a way, we could assume that Lank is in a way requesting the mayor to be more transparent on how those $150 million are going to be given to the other departments, correct?
You would stand correct.
No.
Hold on, I totally get confused. Jeff, yes or no?
Jeff's saying yes and Laura's saying no, because I was present at the discussion. It literally wants the neighborhood councils in those communities that are underserved, underrepresented, and areas with people of colors. That's not just South LA. That those neighborhood council areas be allowed to weigh in and have some say over where the money is going to go. But there's no way to weigh in even at the moment because there is no council file.
Okay,
that
so
is
that's
correct,
council,
but historically
the
mayor has power
Right.
with the budget. The mayor sets the budget. The city council either approves or disapproves and sends it back to committee.
Right.
So Asai is right, Laura is right. At this point, all this committee is wanting to do is weigh in and helping Lank to get a community, or not a community, a council file created so that the community can actually start weighing in and do so officially.
Would this, oh, sorry. Would this go,
2:30 remaining.
Would this go quickly if there's a council file created? Would this very likely go through a budget committee through the city council? And if so, would you say that probably someone from the mayor's office would probably be attending those meetings as well, virtually?
That would be the most likely channels. Dorit, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I'm not on this committee. I'm not in the executive committee anymore, but I'm on the board and I'm on SLANK and I am a citizen of this city. I strongly believe as neighborhood council members are elected to represent the community. This is a historic revolutionary change in how Los Angeles and the rest of the country is going to be doing policing and public safety. Everyone has not just the right, but the responsibility to weigh in. Neighborhood councils need to take that responsibility and we need to demand a voice at this. And the only way to have that is to be able to do the community impact statement, which means we need to have what this is saying. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied, but I strongly support this motion. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
No.
I have a question. Hello?
Hugo, go ahead.
I was just wondering if anyone here is really familiar with blank, so that maybe they can tell me what's the difference between this resolution and with the stuff that the budget advocates are supposed to be doing.
All right. Hugo, this is not a budget advocate action, but there are lots of the people who participate in LANC also participate as budget advocates or budget reps, depending on the situation.
30.
So this specific item is literally a LANC resolution to ask neighborhood councils to in turn ask for a council file so each neighborhood council can weigh in or where those funds are allocated in their community. How that's different than what the budget advocates might do, I don't know, because they don't do CISs, that's for sure. LANC came first, budget advocates came second, if that's your question.
Okay,
Reach
I was
the end.
trying to figure out the overlap. All right, thank you.
Well, Glenn Bailey, for example, overlaps.
So would we like to move an action forward? Greg?
I make a motion that we move this
Resolution.
resolution forward.
Second?
Do I actually have to recuse myself for some reason or no?
No?
As a budget advocate, absolutely not.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay.
We have a first from Greg, a second from Asai. All
There it
those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any in opposition? Action carries. Laura, would you like a few moments on UNC committee calendar of meetings?
Yes, let me.
Need the full 5 or you want to go 3?
I'm probably gonna go 3. I'm just saying the words out loud because I don't have the full calendar, so I didn't write a calendar. What we know right now is first Tuesday of each month is recreation, UNC Recreation and Parks. It's at 7:30 so as to avoid conflicts with Jefferson Park HPOZ and or West Adams Terrace HPOZ, which also meet first Tuesdays, but at 6 o'clock or sometimes even 5:30. So we're hoping to avoid conflict. First and third Wednesday remains planning and zoning. First Thursdays, obviously, our governing board. The second week of the month, right now, I have no standing committee meetings scheduled. Third week of the month, the first Tuesday is executive, meaning third Tuesday of the month. Third Wednesday is planning and zoning. Third Thursday is communications. And again, potentially also homelessness liaison. That's when they had been meeting. Fourth week of the month, the first Tuesday is the Jefferson Park Community Safety Meeting. The fourth Thursday is CIS. That's the only ones I know right now. Trying to avoid the second Wednesday of the month because that is the Harvard Heights and Western Heights
1:30.
HPOZ and also West Adams Avenues. Those HPOZs also meet the fourth Wednesday, but it's, they don't all meet the same time. So that's the grid I have right now. We always keep fifth weeks open because there's not always fifth weeks. So fifth weeks are always good for special meetings when there is a fifth week in a month.
1 minute.
I'm done.
Thank you, Laura. Moving on to the next item, board meeting protocols, duties, and
I'm sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand at the moment. Can I ask a question about the meetings? We won't have the Zoom thingy yet. I have a meeting in 2 weeks and I don't have a way to do it unless I yell out the window.
Laura's raising her hand. She can't see her hand raised. Laura has agreed to host both all three of the next 3 meetings. I mean, in other words, I'm doing 4. I'm doing communications this Thursday. I'm doing the Jefferson Park a week from tonight. I'm doing Janie's, unless we can find someone else to do it, but I'm probably doing Janie's on the 24th, and I'm doing yours on, I've got the wrong dates. I'm looking at September, but on the 4th Thursday, and then I'm doing yours on Tuesday, the 1st of September. And after that, we have a board meeting, and I'm hoping by then we'll approve another Zoom license and we can get Asai to help with all this. He can.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now I will say this: I am not planning to moderate any of those meetings except yours, Dorit, because everyone else is finding their own person. So Nancy's using Jeff at her meeting. Raheem and Gabby are doing their own, I believe. I'm going to help. I'm going to set up Janie's, but I'm not going to be able to moderate it because I'll actually be at a different Zoom meeting myself that night. So I'm working on finding someone to work with Janie for her CIS committee. And
I can ask around and see if anyone's able to monitor it. Maybe I'll hit up my young friend Hugo, see if he's willing to do it. But
right.
Lizzie has her hand raised, and so does Hugo, and then we should probably move on to the next item.
I was going to say one other thing, but go ahead and let them talk first.
Lizzie?
Yes. Just wanted to let you know, I'm hoping to set up a recurring meeting for the outreach committee, but right now I'm setting up all my tutoring sessions. I'm assembling, I'm getting new students and deciding on the dates. Usually will be the evening, so I will have to see, but yeah, I'm on it.
Right, and also some of these committees certainly can meet every other month. They don't have to meet monthly. Oh, somebody else had their hand up, sorry.
Right.
My question, so this all applies to the Economic Development Committee too, right?
Absolutely. So if you're on that with Chris, you guys need to discuss how and when you're going to meet.
Okay. I tried getting in contact, but we haven't been able to speak yet. But so for the moment, I don't know. But are we gonna have this this motion again maybe next month, or I don't know if this is a motion?
You just coordinate with me for now. But I'm just trying to keep a calendar so we don't have 4 meetings the same night.
Right. Okay.
There's no action on it.
Okay.
But I want to add 2 things. If you look at the Planning and Zoning Committee agenda or the Communications Committee agenda, and this is going to be going forward, we've added another big, long paragraph that may change, but it basically is saying that standing committees per the Brown Act are themselves legislative bodies. That's what the actual law says. So they're both subject to the Brown Act, but it also means if it's a standing committee that board members may attend. either as participants or observers without worrying about quorum, having too many people there. So we've added that notice because the city attorney was concerned that our stakeholders weren't aware that board members were also participating. There's some other issues with that. So I've created a template that we're starting to use until someone tells us we have to change it again. And number two, Jeff and I were going to do one-on-one training with Nancy for sure, but Dorit, we can do a training with you as well. And if you found somebody who's not a board member, who's not a board member, to be your clerk, moderator, co-host, etc. But if we're gonna, if you're gonna, we can't do too many people on one training meeting without calling it a public training meeting. So a public meeting. So we were gonna do Nancy by herself, and Dorit, we can do you by yourself, and anybody else by themselves. Probably not at night because we're all busy. So anyway, so that the idea is we're trying to get these committees off the ground and give them wings, and have the committee chairs find their own moderators. So also Jeff Camp doesn't have to do every single one, because he's like my cloven to me and cloven to Janie and cloven to Nancy, but he can't be to everybody. So we need to look for some other techie people.
Thank you, Laura. Moving on to the next item, board meeting protocols, duties, responsibilities, and time management. Greg, this one was brought up by you, so I'll set the clock for 5 minutes for presentation, followed by 5 minutes of discussion.
Okay, I would like to request permission to share my screen.
Oh,
Laura, can
I'm
you
sorry.
co-host him?
Yeah. Sorry.
Good. Okay, so let me try again. Okay, I am, here we go. Okay, can everyone see this? Can we see this?
Yes.
Let me start my timer.
Yes.
Let me start my timer so that I don't go over my time. So what I'll do is I'll just go down what I have, and then we could come back and do a discussion about the items. So in my 4 minutes remaining, I want to talk about the goals that we have for our meeting. Is to start on time and end on time. We want to be efficient, effective in our meeting, and we want to give equal voice to all participants, guests, and to all of our speakers in accordance with our bylaws and our standing rules. And then I had a question that we can discuss about our standing rules, how they posted on our website. Then for our practices, I would like for us to discuss and come to agreement that our guest speakers that speak before our meeting start, that they be limited to the allotted time before the meeting, unless we don't have a quorum, and then we give them 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever time we agree on to go into that time. That is only if we don't have a quorum. Our public comments time, that we stress and we let people know that it's not a questioning and answering time. It's just we give people a minute or 2 minutes or 30 seconds, whatever time we allot it, for them to make their comments. And then we move on, again, stressing that it's not a discussion time, that we approve the agenda by voice vote, which we have done in this meeting. And then if we have any guests, we can discuss this. If we have any guests, to be polite to them, if we can allow them to go early as possible in the agenda so that they're not waiting around to do their presentation with us. And then for different items, hopefully I'm not going too fast, but that we present items that we will vote on, motions, and that we just said, this is the item, this is the recommendation that the committee has, or this is the motion. We put that out there, and then we allow the presenter to present for the 5 minutes or 10 minutes as we have allotted. Stress to people that are going down into the weeds that we do have committees that will go into great detail, but we would stress that as a governing board, we are not relitigating all the information, but we have a recommendation from our experts, and we want to build trust in them. So we're just approving what they have recommended or disapproving it, and that we're looking at it from the standpoint of did it follow our governing rules and bylaws. Again,
1:30.
Following the presentation time. And operationally, the president presides, that we all assist in the meeting. And these are just a few suggestions: that the VP acts as a parliamentarian and take attendance, the secretary take minutes, which is happening, that the second signer or someone else completes the BAC, and that can be done by hand, and then stressing the vote, that we do a voice vote as much as possible on procedural items, and then we do a roll call vote on physical items, budgetary items, and then personnel items. So that's my presentation to improve our efficiency, and I open the floor for discussion on any of the items, and I'll go to the top first.
Thank you, Greg. As past president, I can answer and take a lot of these off real fast, just so that we can continue a good discussion within 5 minutes. Any action that the board takes absolutely must require a BAC, including personal items, including the agenda. Committees are not necessarily have to follow that, which allows us to do the voice votes. It shows approval, it shows, acceptance, but the Board of Neighborhood Councils has told the neighborhood councils that on any action that they take on behalf of the public must be recorded, and who voted how. So that'll take a lot of that out. Gabby has her hand raised. Gabby?
Sorry, noob question. What is BAC? Nobody ever told me what that meant.
I think it's board action call or something like that. But
It's board action certification. It's that last word that is the important thing. So we have to know, did a person say yes, no, did they abstain, were they ineligible, were they absent for the whole meeting, or what I'm learning on Zoom, sometimes they're simply absent for the action. They're not, after I call their name 3 times and we don't hear them, I just mark them for absent for the vote. But we don't have a separate column because the city makes the columns. So long as we still have quorum, that's okay.
So I wasn't clear,
thank
Jeff.
you.
Jeff, I wasn't clear on what you were saying. You were saying that if it's a committee recommendation, we could do that by voice vote.
At the committees themselves, Greg.
Yes, but when it comes to our action in our meetings,
all
at the governing board.
BACs.
Yep. Any action the board takes, they're doing so as a government body, and their votes must be recorded by the individual.
Okay. So there are, my opinion is there's 2 exceptions, and Jeff, you said it differently than this. So I may be wrong, and you may be wrong. The approval of the agenda is not usually a BAC.
Right.
Well, we had that issue come up, and the last one to advise us to include that also on the BAC, was oh gosh, his name is skipping me at the moment.
Okay, well, we haven't been doing that the whole time I've been president, but I haven't been president very long, nor have I been on the executive committee before that. So, okay, good to know.
Taviano recommended that we do that as well.
Okay, and then the other thing we don't need to do a BAC on is if we've run out of time and we want to vote to add time to our discussion, we do not need to have a BAC on that.
That one is correct. Gabby has her hand raised again.
Should I stop sharing screen? Or should I keep that up?
That's fine.
Yes, no, up or down?
Up. Oh, never mind. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I guess. All right.
Sorry. It's hard to find the buttons.
You had a discussion matter, Gabby?
No, sorry. I just left my hand up. You answered my question. I just had a concern about like approval of items, like those generally don't of the agenda order or things like that. They generally don't require any, just like a majority nodding heads for the body. But that's city procedure, so I'm not really sure how.
Right.
I just don't get why we need it. You know, like.
Yeah.
Well,
Just take
I
a
can tell you
time.
why. I can tell you why, but I won't go on that because this is a recorded meeting. But if UNC is
Hang on.
To do this.
Okay, I resumed the recording.
Yeah.
No,
You can do
here's my opinion on approving the agenda. The executive committee will have already approved the agenda and even the order it's in before governing board, right? So when we get to governing board, what the usual thing is about approving the agenda is because somebody needs something tabled, or we're switching up the order. We cannot add anything to the agenda because that would be a violation of the Brown Act. So all we can usually do is subtract or change the order of things. So
No, I'm saying like agendize items. Yeah. So if we want to agendize anything, we'll, need a nodding head, like a majority nodding heads or anything like that. But I like Greg's proposal. And I'm not really sure what our action would be at this point, but those are good reminders to run,
Yes.
our meetings shorter.
Right. Well, I want to answer one question, Greg. The bylaws and the standing rules are indeed on the website. We actually had this discussion. It's just that it's hard to find them, but they're there.
Yes.
And
yes.
and as soon as Raheem comes up for air, Thursday night when Gabby and Raheem are having their communications meeting, I will bring up as a public comment to please, try and figure out where a better and easier way to see them is on the website. It's sort of a matter of what would be intuitive on the website for a visitor for the first time.
Yeah.
To find
I did a search and it came up.
Yeah, I did a search too. I
2014.
found them that way, but that's not necessarily what people would do.
from a moderator standpoint, I think that the group might agree that the action here is to use this perhaps as a working document, and as members of the executive committee who lead the board, that we try to start implementing and practicing some of these practices.
Well, yeah, this was my big sigh. So my sigh is nothing that's on Greg's proposal is different than we've now discussed 3 meetings in a row. The problem is the implementation at the governing board. So, I know, I'm just saying. So my experience at the last governing board meeting, as I was trying to say, let's stick to the topic, let's end the discussion, I was getting a huge amount of pushback. And
Yes,
I think
and on that,
experienced that the prior meeting, and we all want to just be liked. But I did get, unfortunately, there was a board member, I'm not going to say a name, there was a board member who I did say, we've decided to move on. So I was trying to do a cutoff, but it didn't work. The board member kept talking for another 2 or 3 minutes, but worse, didn't realize that if that individual then typed a rude remark into the chat, not realizing it goes straight to me.
yeah, Madam President, as moderator, I need to remind everyone that this time has been spent on this item, and unless we want to extend it an additional 3 minutes, Lizzie has her hands raised and Greg has his hand raised.
No, not anymore. Mine is down.
Okay.
But Lizzie does.
Lizzie?
I took mine down.
Lizzie, we'll end with you.
Yes. Thank you, Greg, for taking the time to put everything there so that we all know what to, the rules to be followed. Another thing, it's a small pet peeve of mine, is when some board members agree with the former board members' comments and then add 2-3 minutes of talking without really contributing to the discussion. So if you want to agree with someone, just raise your hand, thumbs up. You know, you don't have to say, oh, I also do, and then it becomes another 2 minutes.
Well, I have a suggestion, and then we should move on to the next item. As my new role as moderator, have you guys been okay with how this meeting has been moving along? If so, we can duplicate that experience at our next board meeting and see how it works. Because ultimately the board decides what to do, whether they want to extend time and, you know, weigh in more heavily on a very important item. But if you've liked my role as moderator, then we give it a shot at the next board meeting.
Yes, please.
Well, you can't recognize me. The moderators recognize me. Am I recognized?
Yeah, I can see you, Greg, and then
Okay.
Asai, and then we need to close this matter.
Okay, so yeah, Jeff, I see you as more coaching us on how to do this. And my thoughts or my hopes are that as you coach us on how to do this, that the individuals that are on the board will take over those different duties because that's their official duty. And so we don't really have an official moderator position, but because you just know everything and you're very kind and generous with us, I just receive your gift as just helping us to develop our skill set.
Thank you, Greg. I would be more than happy to attend a meeting purely as a stakeholder. So until we get to that point, there you go.
There you go.
So, Jeff, I guess I just want to say the way it's really a difficult situation because here we're being very collaborative. When we get to that 23-member board, everybody wants everyone else to only speak for 1 minute, but they want to speak for 4. So that becomes, and people don't know when they're talking, they don't know how long they're taking, just as I don't. And Asai had his hand raised, sorry. I am not comfortable, Jeff, with you taking over the presiding of the meeting function. I am.
Well, I will always ask you first. I will
Right.
just move us on through the items and remind
Right.
people of time limits.
Right. That's what, I mean, I'm hoping you can moderate, but I'm also hoping Asai is able to not have people yell at him when he's doing timekeeping, which is something he had volunteered. So people started yelling at him 2 meetings ago. And then I know Asai wasn't really thrilled perhaps last meeting to take that on. So
It's a transition. Asai?
Yeah, so I remember when we had our executive committee meetings in person, if you guys could remember those days.
Back in the day.
Well, back then, I remember my first meeting, the meeting took way too long. However, after that, I know that it was a matter of being able to just really stand your ground, because as the person who's running the meeting at that time, you really need to understand that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to try to take a leeway for your good graces, even if it's by getting another additional 2 minutes, that'll eat up into the time of other items. And so that's where at one point, if Laura or others could remember, even at the governing board, I wasn't the one moderating or running the meeting, but I remember having to yell at Gavin Glenn. And I hate that I didn't, but at the end of the day, it's a matter of maintaining the order of the meeting and to speed up the meeting so things can get done more efficiently. And I think that's one of the goals that should be focused on, is on efficiency, but also someone who is either myself, Jeff, you've been doing a great job in these meetings right now, or myself, basically just standing firm. And if people, let's say, just don't or get mad because I cut them off and tell them we're over the time limit, that so be it. You just have to take the punch. And
thank you, Asai.
Thank you.
Gabby, you're going to be our last one, and then we really need to move on to the next item.
Just very
That's my
quickly, I
hand
think
up, by
that
the
we
way.
would, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Hugo.
No, after you though, it's fine. Sorry to
Just
interrupt.
very quickly, I think that it would be helpful to maybe and maybe you just did this, I don't know, but have some sort of board member training on just procedures and roles as a board member, what our duty is, you know, professionalism and preparation for our meetings, which can help guide myself and other board members in understanding what the dynamic should be like. We're all professionals, we're all adults, and we should be able to run effective meetings. So I don't know if we've talked about that in the past, but it'd be nice to maybe see that in the future, even on Zoom.
Thank you, Gabby.
Hugo is next, Jeff.
Hugo?
Thank you. Also, just a reminder, I can't put my hand up because of the hosting, but also my reactions button never works on Zoom for some reason, even in other meetings. Anyways, so with the public comments and basically any comments that are made, I think one issue that I've noticed is that there aren't many rules regarding that. And I guess people just get mad because they feel they're not getting the same amount of time as others to speak. And that's how I feel too. I feel like there's not really, you know, there are no hard rules for everyone. And there's different types of comments that people make. Sometimes they're just, you know, ideas that they have. Sometimes there are questions. Sometimes there are questions asked in the form of a conversation where they expect someone to answer and then they answer again. And so I feel there's a lot of this, like, you know, verbal volleyball. And I feel if we just have like hard set rules for all of those cases, then everyone can be clear about how much time they're gonna have. And with Zoom, it's easier to make them stop talking because we can just mute them as soon as the time stops. And I feel that might be even better than allowing some people to go over the limit, but not allowing others to do it, because I don't like the fact that that happens. And I'd rather everyone gets muted than let anyone go over the time limit.
Thank you, Hugo. Perhaps then something for the executive committee to consider, and then we need to move on to the next item, is perhaps at the start of discussion, if we've set a discussion time limit, or if any committee or the board has set a discussion limit for 5 minutes, we announce that unless you have anything to say, please keep your comments to 1 minute or 2 minutes.
You can only speak twice, I believe, on the item.
Laura, yes, correct. That's in the standing rules. Laura?
Yeah,
Laura.
the standing rules do address this, although Zoom makes it harder. The standing rules basically say that you get 2 times to talk, but you can't talk the second time until everyone who's talked the first time, who wants to talk the first time, has spoken. And that the person, most often John and me on land use, I mean, there's other committees, but if you ask me a question or you ask John a question on a land use item, our answer doesn't count towards our time. I mean, that's said differently, but that's in the standing rules.
Right.
What I've been observing over the last few months, more so than when we were meeting in person, is a lot of extra conversation on land use items, the one I'm most focused on topics that we're not even supposed to be dealing with, and much more pushback that we have, you know, everyone has the right to talk, even if it's about something that is not really we're supposed to be dealing with. And I think part of it is everyone really wants to be heard and talked to in this pandemic where everyone's at home alone I mean, they're not always alone, but I think people are, oddly enough, more comfortable with the meetings lasting longer, so long as they feel they got to talk, than they are with a goal of, no, Greg, your goal is different, but I'm saying I'm getting these feedback from some of our other board members saying, you know, it's okay that they're going long because I'm at home, I'm comfortable, I can go get a snack, it doesn't bother me. And it's like, well, it's bothering me, Laura, because I'm not in my home, I'm in my office home, but I'm not at home, and I'd like these meetings over sooner. But
Okay.
I also respect the need for everybody right now to have that high touch component to this high tech way of meeting. I mean, for lack of a better description. So I'm trying to be sympathetic, but I also noticed at the last meeting in particular, lots of conversations on lots of the agenda items that went way off topic. And
Okay.
to me, that's more time consuming.
Thank you, Laura.
Next item.
Next item will be budget adjustments. Greg, would you like 5 minutes to update everybody on the budget?
I think I need more.
Okay, would you like 7?
Sure, I'll take 7. Sure. Okay, so let me get back to, okay, there we go. Let me go back to Zoom, to the Zoom screen, share screen. Okay, so there's 3 documents that I want, well, 4 documents that I want to show you. This is the monthly expenditure report. This is our starting budget for the month of July, which is the first month of our fiscal year. And this is the amount of money that we're starting off with. It includes, it is not all, this is the amount of money we start off with, but we really have more money than this. But I'll show you that in a second. But this gives you a very short version of how we have earmarked our funding. Okay, so when we go to the governing board, we need to do a VC approving this, but we haven't spent any money so far. All right, so I'm gonna close this document. I'm gonna open up the next one. The next document is, hold on, bear with me, please. The next document is, great. All right, hold on, let me see if I can do this. Okay, this should be it. Okay, sharing this document. This is our detailed budget for the year. What I want to point your attention to are the different areas. This is our allocation for the year, yearly allocation. This is our rollover. This is funding, additional Clean Street funding that we have earmarked. Well, we have it in our budget, but we don't count it towards our operational funds, as those funds are set aside for Clean Streets. This amount is our encumbrance amount that we have pulled from last year's budget and moved forward into this year. This amount is not counted in our total amount here, but it is listed on a separate section of the city budget under encumbrance. Currently, what the city is doing is trying to decide how they're going to report that in our total budget. In a few minutes, I'll show you where that money is actually put somewhere.
330.
Okay. I also want to say, I mentioned this last time when we were over the budget, that in the past, what we had in our rollover, to the best of my understanding, I could be wrong, we did not count our rollover in our allocated funds. So I pointed that out, and they said that we had to put the rollover into our allocated funds for the budget that we submitted. So in order to show that the rollover is in our allocated funds, for holding purposes, I put it on this line. Not that we need $8,000 for office equipment, but I have to put it on a line as we submit the budget because we had to show that we had a total amount earmarked or put on different lines. Any questions on that so far? Okay. I'm going to close this. I'm going to come back to this, but I'm going to close this and show you another document.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, encumbrance, Unnc. Okay. Okay. This can you see this? On the portal, the amount of money that we have set aside in our encumbrance is not put in our regular budget, but it is listed in this special. We have a budget, payment request, P-card, which is credit card, MERS, special account, and then you have encumbrance. That $3,996 is listed here. We're still in discussion with our budget person on how we will reconcile the two, because this amount, see, I was pointing it, as you can see it, this amount
1 minute
is not seen in the annual budget that we have submitted, but it is annotated in the budget system, but it's annotated here. I don't know if all that makes sense, but that's our budget report, and I will go over anything that you want me to go over, or any detailed questions that you have. Oh, and also, we said we were going to buy some stuff for Janie, and we didn't, well, not for her personally, but for her committee, but we haven't bought that. And then the revisions to our annual budget, where Hugo is listed as the second card holder, that was submitted because I received all the answers that I needed. And so that was submitted late afternoon today. And so Hugo, you should be able you should receive your card, I guess, pretty soon. I don't know how long that's going to be, but yeah, that's my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing this, and I will open up any documents that you want to see or answer any questions that you may have.
Actually.
Yes.
Thank you, Greg.
Go.
Committee, 5 minutes for discussion.
Yes, Laura.
Yeah, I was calling myself. And maybe Hugo actually knows the answer. When they issued me my credit card, it's not my personal, my UNC credit card, it was a whole big deal, and I had to present myself personally with ID to pick it up. How are they handling getting Hugo a credit card? And I asked because apparently, they immediately canceled Isaac's to our surprise, and as a result, I guess his credit card was the one embedded with our Ring Central phone system. So it bounced, the charge bounced, and I'm trying to figure out how to pay that damn thing. But I don't know if Isaac's card is embedded anywhere else. So the sooner we have a Hugo credit card, the better, I think, right?
Yes, I would agree.
So Hugo, do you know how they're getting you the card? Did they tell you after the training?
Not yet, actually. I'll try and figure it out. And should I get in contact with you or with Greg about that?
Well, what I will do is, if I may, I will ask that question that, okay, we submitted. First, I'll say, do you have everything that you need from us? And then have them say yes. And then from that, then I say, what's the time frame for you receiving this card? And then as soon as I get that answer, I will send out a blast to everyone on the team about that.
Right.
Because I did the training. I went to it very early in the morning. I remember. It was just me and 2 others.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah. Any other
yeah,
questions?
just physically getting the card was a pain in the, and I had to go to City Hall to do it. And I don't know how they're doing it now since City Hall is closed.
Okay. I'll find out. Pick up.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, Laura, would you like to announce the items that are moving to the governing board agenda?
Well, you mean the ones I know or would like to have? So from this agenda tonight, obviously the funding request and for sure the number item C, 3C, the blank resolution. We will have another discussion, but I'll have a physical calendar prepared of the committee calendar. And Greg, you can tell us, I guess we do need to have another discussion of meeting protocols at the board.
Yes.
And I think I want to send an email out in advance to find out how many of our board members actually took the virtual government training, because I'm guessing not so many.
2 minutes, and Dorit has her hand raised.
I'm sorry, Jeff. You asked me to give you a list. I'm trying. I'm planning and zoning and the governing board had in the past voted on a couple of things that relate to LADOT. We're having a presentation from them tomorrow night at planning and zoning. I'm not likely to involve this, but we have voted to have angled street parking on Washington between Gramercy and Cimarron. We had voted to ask for angled street parking on 4th Avenue between Washington and the alley. These are related to development projects. We had voted to have no parking during rush hour on Venice Boulevard between 6th Avenue and the Click School to help with reducing traffic impacts of people dropping their kids off at that school. And we had voted to have traffic lights installed
1
at
minute.
Jeff.
You're doing a good job.
At Washington, excuse me, at Western and 24th, and as well at Montclair and Adams. So I'm going to put on the agenda a resolution that to LADOT for each and every one of these things to remind them of our series of different requests. And that will just go straight to board because we've already actually voted on it once before. I do not know if we have, like we did the last time, any last minute land use cases because we're not getting our notices for hearings. That may be a post office issue. So I'm tracking it as closely as I can. And if there's anything that comes up suddenly, again, we'll have that land use case on the agenda. I don't have anything pending right this sec. That's from me. Anybody else have agenda items?
All
And
of the
Dorit
action
does have her
items
hand
that
up.
were, yes, all the action items approved by the committee, and then Dorit, and we'll close with Greg.
Okay.
Mine was just that we skipped secretary or.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. This isn't the end of the meeting.
The secretary report was supposed to come after treasurer's report on the agenda.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, because we did that. Yes, but he did his whole treasurer's report under a different agenda item. Our bad.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
That's okay. We're done with it. Not to worry.
My bad.
Our bad.
To me, they're the same thing.
Where we are right now on the agenda is 3G, upcoming UNNC governing board meeting agenda items. So I'm sorry. So given that we are now having committee meetings, I don't know if any committees that are meeting between now and the governing board will also have anything that they'll take up at governing board. They have the permission to do that. And in addition, I'm sorry, I'm going backwards, we still have 3 or 4 openings for committee chairs and alliance reps, so I'm bringing those back in the hopes that maybe we can appoint them.
Before we move on, I need to ask for an extension of time.
Yes,
Yes, Jeff.
3 minutes, 5 mints?
But
3,
3 minutes.
3.
3 minutes. Greg, you had your hand raised.
Okay, on the protocol issues, if someone could send me the current version of the standing rules so that I can review that. And then also there was a handbook that was being worked on. If we could share that so we can work on that together also, that would, I think that would help us.
the handbook is so woefully out of date, Greg, that
2:30 remaining.
But we can work on it together if we share
I
it.
agree with that. I'll share it with you, Jeff.
I like that.
Yes, okay.
But we can't share it more widely than that because we start violating the
Yeah. And then what else did I want to say? That's it, because I can't think else what I want to say. Oh yeah, and then on my stuff, on the agenda, budget adjustment and treasury report, I don't see the difference between the two. They seem to blend together to me.
Technically, that should appear under your financial report.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll explain. In the executive committee, it's usually separate, and in board, it's in the same. So that's my bad. Meaning it should just all be under treasurers. It always is under treasurers as a call out under treasurers on the governing board agenda. At executive committee, it gives you more time to focus on it. And
Right.
I didn't think we were doing, I'm sorry, because I had it as two.
No, I just want to make sure I'm thinking.
Right, because we don't always have budget adjustments. So
Right.
At executive.
Okay, so then also related to budget items, a concern that I have is that we generally talk about expenditure. We talk about expenditures of money before we get the report on how much money we have. So I would like for us to consider maybe in a future meeting if we should receive the report on how much money we have before we talk about buying new things and paying for new things. Because I feel like we talk about this finance and spending. Right now, it's not a problem, but near the end of the year, it will be a problem of us discussing things when I'm knowing that we don't have the money for that. Does that make sense? Okay.
Comment?
Go ahead, Hugo. There's 20 seconds left.
I just wanted to say, I'm not sure if the budget has information about what has been voted on before. I was just wondering if that's already there, and if not, then maybe I can help with adding a feature like that to the budget.
I'm not sure what you mean. It has what we allocated funds for, and then in the merge, it shows what we have approved to spend money on. So it does show what we approved. So yes, we do. And then every once in a while, I give a detailed report of this is what we've spent to date. Like that multicolored spreadsheet gave that report for the full year.
Okay, I meant like comparing to what we've spent in specific expenditures in previous years.
Yes, it has that.
Would the committee like to extend time again?
Jeff, there wasn't a time limit on the agenda for this item, was there?
I'm trying to move the meeting along because we are already outside of the meeting time itself.
I'm aware of that, but every time we discuss moving the time along, it takes time. Greg, I want to answer your question. At the moment, we've got almost all of our money to spend, so I don't think we need to, at the top of the meeting, say how much money we have, and then at the bottom of the meeting, do the budget adjustments. I would like to be able to, I've been trying to move items around so that, President's report was last on the last agenda, but I had to table everything. And treasurer is always second to last. I'd like to have treasurers at the top and president at the top every once in a while so that we aren't rushing through and then going to other things. But if we have guests, as you pointed out, who are presenting, we're using the nice word guests, applicants, whatever, we've got to, people who are asking for money, people who are asking for approvals, we do need to have them higher up in the meeting. If we don't have a lot of that at this next meeting, I'd like to do president's report and treasurer's report near the top so that we don't get the short shrift you and I are always getting because we're out of time and it's after 11 at night. But I just looked at the governing board agenda, the standard template, and the budget realignments and board member reimbursements. That is a standing item in treasurer's report at governing board. So I can move it there for exec if you want. However you want to do it.
Yeah, that's.
We can talk about this off meeting.
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
And to Hugo's question, I just think if you're really interested in the money, that's just something you can talk to Greg about, the compare contrast. What did we spend last year? What did we spend this year? Because the truth is, nothing we did last year is going to have any bearing on what we do this year in the middle of a pandemic anyway.
Right. Yeah, but that information is available. The books,
it is, absolutely.
The books are open.
Right.
So I'm keeping, there's soft copy and hard copy of the books. So yes, I can share that with anybody that wants to see it.
And okay, Hugo, you can try raising your hand again. I unhosted you, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it works. Also, I wasn't doubting anyone's honesty. I hope it wasn't misconstrued as that.
No,
we didn't take it that way.
No, I like going into details of where's that 6 cent set.
Right. Okay. But I will add back to the what's on the agenda. Glenn Bailey sent an email out to all the neighborhood councils requesting specifically that on every agenda we have the budget advocate report as an agenda item. So I'm giving you a heads up on that, Hugo, because that will be sitting on the agendas every month.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, right now I'm trying to get Nancy.
Yeah, don't give us a report now.
Okay. The point is, it's in the works. It's in the works.
Okay.
Let's welcome Carlos.
All right, so the question is, does anybody else know of any other agenda items that I don't know about? That just email me if you have other agenda items. Let's leave it at that, because it already looks like we have a pretty packed agenda, which is not my goal, but we have to just do what we need to do.
How many presenters do you anticipate that we will have?
At the moment?
Yes.
I have 0, but that doesn't mean it won't change. Right. I'm just saying, doesn't mean, because remember, let me just say it this way. If we still have 0 answers, and Jeff knows this, no answer whatsoever from the dance studio people, and just don't know when and what they might present. Metro, I'd like to know what they're doing and maybe force their hand. Maybe they'll do a presentation for our governing board on this northern alignment of the, the Crenshaw line. I mean, I just don't know. And if there is any land use case that is moving forward, that will be something which would have a presenter. But maybe we have none at this meeting. Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
Madam President, we need to move on to item H.
Yeah.
Board member trainings and attendance reviews.
Right. Gabby, I have a question. Have you yet been reached out to be given training credentials?
No, not yet.
Pisses me off, but I just got an email saying Adriana's out of office for the whole week. So we're back to Tom Sung. So we've been bouncing around as to who we were supposed to even talk to at Dunn. So I got an email saying Tom is this week. So I'll try again. And I think it is possible for you and Carlos, who I think is also on this call. Yes, I think you guys can sign up for the funding training on your own at the clerk's website, which only then leaves ethics.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah, and
is the ethics Oh, sorry, pardon the interruption. Is the ethics the AB 1234 training?
Well, yeah, except for you have to do it through Cornerstone, which is this is the problem. Dunn has a Cornerstone training module, something. It's not any different than the state training for local officials, but they're not letting us use it because I have that link, but they're not letting us use it.
Gabby, as a city employee, myself, I've done this in the past, and you might do it as well. It just means reaching out to our rep or someone up in Dunn, providing them with your ethics certificate, training certificate, to see if they will consider that as already served. But then you'll have to do it again when you have to renew anyway.
Yeah, great. I just renewed mine for my job, so.
So that doesn't help Carlos, though.
No, it doesn't help Carlos. He's screwed.
I mean, I did the FPPC one, which is the Fair Political Practices Commission, and that one is available to anybody. So maybe we'll talk about it.
It's not a certificate at a state level. It might not pass, but if it is, you'll be good. It just means letting them know you've done it before through your city job.
Cool. Good to know. Thank you.
Right. They are letting Chris, although she still hasn't done it, go back into the state one, back to our update. So we're still having a Chris Carlson issue because she took the training, but everyone's lost the certificate. And and they're letting her do the Fair Political Practices Commission just because she started it there. But I don't think Carlos can do that, and I don't think you can do that. But unless you already have done it, like Jeff said. All right. I don't think anybody else is out of date on their trainings, but there's a bunch of people are gonna get out of date soon. And the problem is that the roster's person or persons are being completely non-responsive, and anyone who's about to be out of date this year will not have a Cornerstone login because they took their training before there was Cornerstone. Cornerstone just came into play last July, about a year ago. So anybody who's expiring took their thing 2 years ago or more. So that it's a problem if rosters doesn't send out those login credentials.
Thank you, Laura.
What is that bell?
It's better than the air raid siren, unless you want me to go back to it.
No, we're at Secretary's report.
Actually,
and Gabby, I'm sorry, I see your name is misspelled, and I know it's Dorit's minutes.
Laura, one moment. I just want to make sure that Greg has finished Treasurer's report in his previous update. Greg?
I believe I am. Let's see.
Thank you very much.
And what's more spreadsheet stuff?
Then we'll move on to Secretary's report.
Do you need me to share the screen for the
minutes? I'm assuming everyone already got the minutes as part of this agenda, so I hope you guys took the time to read them, and just tell me what's wrong with them, and I will fix it, and I will no longer be secretary.
Okay. So I've got them shared. Oh.
Wait, did you put the very draft minutes, not the second one I sent you?
This is the one this is what I downloaded that was updated in the Google Drive today. And I didn't update anything today. No, I'm saying today I downloaded it, but it's definitely updated from the first version I had seen. So you did do something, it's updated.
This doesn't look like the last one I had sent you, but let's just see what it looks like. So has everyone had the chance to read it? Board members, committee members?
Okay, everybody's.
Yes.
Thank you for acknowledging.
That's good. Come on. Boom, boom, boom.
So committee members that were there would have been
Okay, well, we have a thing where you still have it. Ask Greg
That's Greg what he said.
said.
That's what I want to ask Greg what he said. You remember
What
what he said?
topic?
Let me open it. Let me.
Okay.
Funding requests. Last. Can we go above that? I'm sorry, I'm trying to move it. Can we go above? Voted to
It
extend
was
the
about the
time.
time efficiency protocols.
I would just say, how about just this? Stressing efficiency of our meetings.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Three minutes.
Okay, do I need to be scrolling through this, you guys? Which I just did. Okay. I'm not getting response, so I'm scrolling quickly. Same question. Look, do I need to read this to everyone, or do we just have a discussion? If we've had time to read it anyway.
Sounds like maybe people are reading it. They're being quiet because they're reading.
I don't know.
Reading it.
Reading.
I'm okay to move forward. I can. Well, actually, I can't make a motion. I wasn't present.
Correct. You were not. You can't vote on this.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the.
Oh God, this triggers an answer for the prior agenda item for me. Oops. I'll be quiet.
Yes, please. Thank you.
One minute.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes with the noted additions. Corrections.
Sorry, did that include Isai's name being spelled incorrectly on page 1 at the bottom?
Asai is present. It shows Asai is present. Is that the question?
No, his spelling of his name.
Sorry, Asai. I'll fix that.
I didn't even notice that. Wow. Thanks, Hugo.
Looking after you guys.
I warned you guys. I am dyslexic to like the 10th degree. Spelling is not something I can do well. So, but I will fix your name. I'm sorry about that, Asai.
I'm not even bothered by it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dory, for everything. You're a great secretary.
No, I sucked, but you're a really nice guy to say that. So someone made a motion. Someone
Yes.
second the motion.
Right. So I'm gonna. Can I stop the share, you guys? Are we good to stop sharing?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Wait a minute. I heard. Gabby, you can't vote.
Oh, abstain then.
Yes, thank you. But it'd be Asai and Hugo. You good with this?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Something just came to
So
mind.
are there any committee updates? So Carlos, I know you're here. I think you're here. So you could update us on what's going on with the, very quickly with the candidates forum.
It's still scheduled. In fact, I just received an email today. We're getting a line of questions in for the candidates. They extended that one more day, so I think we're still on schedule for that. Not too much to report on, other than we're excited to have it sent out. So that's about it.
And Lizzie, do you have any non-committee but committee chair report from outreach?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'm hoping everybody starts coming more to the land use committees so that, meeting, planning and zoning, so that we can shorten our discussions at the board, assuming we don't get in trouble with the city attorney for doing it that way. And anyway, any old business. Jeff, I don't even know what old business is.
It's a placeholder. So with that, I give you the pleasure to adjourn the meeting should you choose.
I certainly choose to do so because I wanted to be done an hour ago. Thank you all.
Thank you much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
Have a good
you,
evening.
everyone.
Okay.
Nice to hear all your voices.
Be good to
Hope to
yourselves.
meet you someday.
Likewise.
We should clap ourselves on the back though, guys. The meeting was set for 2 hours and we did it with 3 minutes left.
All right.
Was it set for 2 hours? All right. So Gabby, are you still here?
Yeah.
If you save the chat, you'll grab some of the motions.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We're adjourned. No more discussion.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. I stay
Bye.
on until everybody goes so I don't just kill you out.
Okay. No, kill us out. Kick us all out.
I don't like
It'll
to
be
do
fun.
that. I think it's rude.
Okay.
Oh, God.
All right. Leaving.
Okay, I'm leaving. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Laura.
Bye,
I had a
Hugo.
question.
Bye-bye.
I had a question. I don't know
Oh,
if it counts as the meeting.
wait.